Have y'all ever watched someone die? I feel like in movies, it's either very dramatic or they just fall on the ground randomly. Like either it's someone holding their dying friend in their arms and they just slowly and peacefully close their eyes, or they just get blasted by a gun or something and the camera cuts to the hero. But in real life, you can die from a lot of things, like illnesses or heart attacks. But today, I'll show you some of the deaths
that are so horrible
that they make heart attacks look peaceful. And y'all, the things I've found probably shouldn't be on the internet at all. I just hope YouTube doesn't take down this video. So if you somehow see this, make sure to like and subscribe. Alright guys, since it was just Halloween, have y'all been watching any of those psycho killer movies? Well, this first incident may just be something straight out of one of those movies, but instead of some crazy looking maniac, this was actually a fairly normal woman who just slashed someone down when they knocked on their door. Like imagine someone just slashing your face with a knife when you trick or treat. Yeah, let's take a look.
How are you? Oh, Jesus Christ. Back up! Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Back up, back up. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Hey, man. I got nothing to do with it. Please back up. Oh, yeah! Back up! Oh, yeah. Back up! Back up!
Oh my god, is he okay? She literally sliced him like 10 times before he fired his gun. Like, just take a look at these pictures. If I was that police officer, I would have probably shot as soon as she began running towards me with a knife. But I guess that's why I'm not a police officer. I'm not brave enough to potentially run into people like this. I wonder if she was on drugs, or if she was just some kind of psychopath murderer. What do you guys think? Also, did you hear that sound in the end? That last breath was just chilling to say the least. But guys, I guess that's why you shouldn't do dumb stuff like charging a police officer with a knife. Speaking of doing dumb things, this next incident is probably the dumbest way someone has gotten their head cut off. Y'all have probably been to the theme park before, right? And you know how you gotta put your bags and stuff in the little box before you go on a ride, so it doesn't get flung into the stratosphere or hit someone below in the head. Well, someone actually got their head cut off from bringing their stuff on the roller coaster, and you probably won't expect the way it happened. Take a look.
The Batman. On June 28, 2008, 17-year-old Asia LaShawn Ferguson visited Six Flags Over Georgia with his family and church group. The Batman was an inverted roller coaster where passengers' legs dangled freely below the track. During his ride, Ferguson's hat flew off his head. After the ride ended, he wanted to retrieve it. The hat had landed in a restricted area beneath the roller coaster tracks. Warning signs marked the zone as off-limits. Ferguson climbed over 2 6-foot fences to reach the area where his hat had fallen. As he searched below, another train approached on the track above him. The train was traveling at 50 miles per hour. A passenger's dangling foot struck Ferguson in the head. The impact was instant. Ferguson was decapitated. Witnesses saw the collision. The train continued to the station, while Ferguson's body lay below. Six Flags temporarily closed the Batman ride. It reopened the following day. The park added security around restricted areas and more warning signs. Ferguson's death became one of the most graphic roller coaster fatalities in recent years.
No, why would you even go into that restricted area? Like, there are so many signs that say do not enter, and he still entered? Like, if you're gonna enter in the first place, why not just look up or something? He already knew he's not supposed to be in there, so couldn't he at least have ducked down or something? And guys, please do not be like this guy. If you accidentally drop something like this, just ask a worker. Like, did he think that the ride was gonna run forever? Those riders must have been so traumatized as well. Like, imagine you're just sitting there and suddenly your foot hits something and you just see a head flying through the air. Like, that must be so traumatizing. Alright guys, have you all ever eaten something before and then it suddenly goes into your airway and you start choking? Well, this guy did the extreme version of that. Do y'all know those umbrellas where you can press a button to open it? Yeah, this guy was a performer who usually swallows swords in his shows. But he did not die from swallowing a sword. Rather, he died from an umbrella. How can you even die from opening your umbrella, you probably ask? Well, I wouldn't have been able to guess it either. Not before I watched this, at least.
Brad Byers was an extreme performer. In 2014, he set a world record for swallowing 12 swords, and he even managed to turn them as well. But death came to him with another object which wasn't even sharp. when he decided to shove an umbrella down his throat and he accidentally pressed the button. The umbrella opened in his body, which blocked his windpipe, and died a painful death in front of his audience.
What kind of trick is even that? Like, who just randomly thinks of swallowing an umbrella? That death must have been so painful. Like he's being choked and cut up from the inside at the same time. Imagine seeing that at a show. They were probably all traumatized. But guys, I actually did some research, and I don't think it actually happened. Because when I googled Brad Byers, it actually says he's still alive, so this might actually be fake. I guess that's why you shouldn't trust everything you see on the internet. Alright guys, at least these few deaths have been really quick. The worst is yet to come, guys. And this next one is no joke. Have y'all ever seen a dead mouse or a dead bird before? Like, after some time, they rot and get eaten up by insects. Like, that's gotta be one of my worst nightmares. It's literally tiny animals just slowly eating away at you, or drinking your blood. That's exactly how this next guy died. Except he was alive when it happened. Check it out.
Have you heard about the worst torture method in human history? It starts with stripping the victim down naked and placing them between two boats, leaving only their head, hands, and feet exposed. The victim was then force-fed a mixture of milk and honey until they physically couldn't eat anymore. This mixture wasn't intended to be the victim's last meal, but instead it was to cause severe diarrhea, which along with the milk and honey would be smeared all over their body. Over time, insects would be drawn to the mixture on the person's body and will feed on their flesh and lay eggs. The victim would endure excruciating pain as the insects would slowly consume their body. On top of that, the milk and honey mixture would be slathered every day until death would come several days later. The victim would remain conscious and in unbearable pain throughout this whole process.
Ew, that's probably the most disgusting thing I've ever heard of. Why did medieval people come up with the worst possible execution methods all the time? Like, I don't think I've ever heard about a normal execution from that time period. It's always some kind of psychopathic way they have to die. Or like, imagine you're just laying there covered in your own milk and honey, while flies are laying eggs inside your skin, and then those eggs mature and start eating you alive. Ew, just imagining that gives me chills. Alright guys, for this next incident, I've gotta warn you. If you're like me and have really bad claustrophobia, you should probably skip ahead. Or at least, put down whatever you're eating. This next video makes me claustrophobic just by watching. Take a look.
A man was exploring the Nutty Putty Cave in 2009, and he wanted to go through one of the tightest stretches called the birth canal. As he was going through it, he noticed it was extremely tight, but he had researched this part of the cave, and he knew that if he just kept squeezing in, he would safely make it through. However, he didn't realize that earlier on, he made a wrong turn and was actually in a different, uncharted part of the cave. This stretch was so tight that the man became stuck upside down. They tried to rescue him for 27 hours, but he eventually passed away, and the cave was permanently sealed as his tomb.
No, that's so bad. He suffocated on his own breath? What even was down there? Why are you trying to go down a hole in the ground? For what reason? Like, you could easily just not go down a hole like that. But I guess it's like to go exploring. But what do you think is gonna be down there? More rock? Real life isn't Minecraft. Like, you're not gonna find diamonds in there, buddy. Shout out to whoever tried saving that guy though. Like, I'd be too scared to get stuck in that myself. Watching that just gives me a headache. Speaking of headaches, have y'all ever had a really bad headache? Like, not what your math homework gives you, but like a really bad sharp pain type stuff. I always cry about it to my mom when I have it, and she lets me stay home from school sometimes. But I'm like wondering, where does that pain come from? Like, no one's actually hurting my brain, right? Like, there's not a little smurf in my skull punching my brain, I think. Well, that wouldn't even be so bad compared to this next brain-shattering pain, literally.
Your head is forced onto a curb, and your teeth and jaw are pressed against the concrete edge. When the stomper applies force, your jaw is violently crushed against the curb. The pressure shatters your teeth and can break your jaw instantly. Your skull might also absorb some of the impact, causing severe trauma to your brain. Without immediate medical attention, these injuries can result in long-term damage or death.
Oh my god, that's so bad. That's so much bone broken in like one action. Imagine you survive it and your brain is just loose in there. Imagine the pain from that. Like just walking around would probably mush up your brain if it was like that. I actually had heard of curb stomping before this video, but I thought it was like an internet term, not like a real way to get some people actually killed. You thought that last one was painful? Well, this is probably gonna be the most painful one so far. If you have ever broken a bone, you'll know why. Yeah, one broken bone is pretty painful. Well now, imagine breaking all of your bones. Yeah, you would just be like a spaghetti after that. Take a look.
The worst ways to die in history. Episode 6. The breaking wheel. Practiced primarily in Europe, the wheel has been used to hurt people since ancient times all the way up to the 19th century. Reserved for those convicted of serious crimes, you were really not in for a good time if you were sentenced to being broken on the wheel. The victim would be taken to the top of some publicly erected scaffolding and tied fast to the floor, their bodies slightly raised from the ground, with wooden blocks positioned directly under their joints. A wooden wheel would then be repeatedly dropped upon the limbs of the restrained prisoner, breaking their bones limb by limb. The goal of the first part, yes there's multiple parts, was mutilation, not death. So care was taken to ensure the victim would survive this part of the process, working from the feet upwards. The second part is where things get a bit twisted. With the limbs now broken, the victim can now be effectively braided into the spokes of the wheel, before being tethered to a mast and hoisted into the air and left for the buzzards. If you survived all this, and you fell from the wheel, it was considered divine intervention from God. All your crimes would be forgiven, and the locals would be obliged to give you medical treatment, though you likely wouldn't be running any marathons anytime soon.
Ew, they weaved the person into the wheel? That's so bad. Even if they did get saved by the divine intervention and survived, they'd probably not be able to move for the rest of their lives. Like, if you broke your bones like that, you'd probably just be happier to be dead. Okay, this is really the most painful one. This final one is gonna freak you out so hard, you'll probably close the video. Have you all heard of Chernobyl? Like where that nuclear power plant exploded and the radiation killed thousands? Well, this next video shows what dying to bad radiation looks like.
The guy you see in the photo behind me has to have one of the worst deaths any human has ever gone through. This is a TikTok slideshow that I got tagged in, where the first slide says, "Just checking on my patient," and shows a doctor. The second slide says, "Doctor, is my skin alright?" This is a topic that we've touched on before. This man right here is Hisashi, and he was working at the Tokaimura nuclear power plant. While working here, there was an accident, and he received 17 sieverts of radiation, which is the most any human has ever experienced. When he was first brought to the hospital, there weren't too many outward signs that he'd received this radiation. His skin was a little red and puffy, but that was it. The worst, however, was yet to come. His cells were so damaged that his body wasn't able to make new cells. And over the course of 83 days, his skin would peel off, his muscle would fall from the bone, and eventually after 83 days, he experienced a multiple organ failure that ultimately took him out. There are photos online of this guy's progression as he got worse, but I highly recommend not looking them up. This is extremely disturbing stuff.
Ew, you can really see his skin start to peel off. I'm not googling that image though. You're welcome to do so if you're curious, but like, he probably looked like an uncooked piece of meat. Imagine getting this much radiation poisoning though. You just know all of your body is gonna slowly rot and fall off. It's like you're rotting from the outside in, while being alive. Alright guys, that was all I had for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, you know what to do. Smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.